You've heard all the standard comments about twins. Are they twins? Are they identical? Are they natural? Who was born first? And you've come up with answers to those questions. But what about your kids? How do they respond? Have you talked to your twins about how to address those questions from complete strangers? Today we're here to talk about teaching your kids to respond to twin questions. This is Twin Talks.
The ultrasound shows your babies to be healthy.
What? Did you say babies? You're huge. Are you having twins?
Are they natural?
Which one do you like better?
Twins, huh? My neighbor's cousin's brother's uncle's a twin.
So can they read each other's minds?
How do you tell them apart? Twins? You got a 2 for 1.
Do twins run in your family?
Double trouble. You're not having any more, are you?
At least you're not Octomom.
If you're pregnant with twins or you're an experienced twin parent, odds are you've heard it all before. Now it's time to hear from the experts. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2. Welcome to Twin Talks. Twin Talks is your online, on-the-go support group for expecting and new parents of twins. I'm your host, Christine Stewart Fitzgerald. Want to know all about the episodes we released so far? Visit the episode guide on our website at newmommymedia.com. And that's also where you can subscribe to our newsletter to learn all about our latest episodes. If you'd like to listen to those episodes on the go, then subscribe to Twin Talks on iTunes or download our free apps. Here's Sunny with details on how you can get involved with Twin Talks.
All right. Hi, everybody. So we love our listeners. We love the fact that you tune into the show. We love getting email from you. So keep that email coming. If Twin Talks has helped you with your twin pregnancy or triplet pregnancy, quadruplet pregnancy, whatever you've got going on, we definitely want to hear that. We love reading those comments, and we'll even share some on the show. And we also want to let you know that we are looking for more twin parents to participate in our shows. It's really easy to do. You don't have to get a babysitter. You don't have to do very much. All you need really is a computer with a decent internet connection and the Google Chrome browser, and you can participate in our show. So if you want more information about that, you can head on over to our website at newmommymedia.com, and there's a bunch of banners and stuff that talk about it. So click on that. You can submit a quick questionnaire online, and that helps us learn a little bit more about you. So if we're working on an episode that we think you'd be a good fit for, we can just reach out to you. The other thing you can do is join our Facebook group where we post all of our topics and our time, so you can reach out to us when you hear about an episode that we're planning that fits you. So go ahead and check us out.
Let's meet the parents joining our conversation today and tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and your experience with today's topic. And Jules, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Jules. I'm in Seattle, Washington. My husband and I have 5-year-old triplet girls. 2 are identical and 1 is fraternal. And so we get a lot of questions about whether or not our girls are identical or if they're natural. And this topic is actually very timely for us because since they're 5 years old and they're going to be going to kindergarten in the fall, we're going to need to know how to talk about these questions. The most recent one we encountered was at the zoo. I was with some friends and we were trying to enjoy our trip to the zoo, and we get approached by strangers going, "Are they natural?" And it occurred to me, I'm like, they can hear you. Do you understand what that might make them feel when they hear you ask that? So yeah, we get lots of questions.
Well, thanks, Jules. Let's go on to Jamie.
Yeah, hi, everybody. So my name is Jamie Mueller, and I live right outside of Washington, D.C. in the Northern Virginia area. And I have twin fraternal girls. They don't look anything alike, and they are 2.5 years old. One's blonde hair, blue eyes, and one's brown hair, brown eyes. And we still get a number of questions and a lot of stares and stranger comments. So I'm glad that we're talking about this topic because I've recently really started to think about my behavior around strangers and what kind of message that's sending to my girls and how I would want them to behave around strangers. So I'm glad that we're talking about this today, and thank you for inviting me to the show.
Glad to have you here. And Sunny, I mean, I know your girls are on the younger side, and you've got your singleton boys, which are a little bit older. So how does that work for your family?
I can't really say that we've had to do a lot of responding to twin questions. I guess I have personally, but my girls, they're a little young. They're just kind of learning how to talk in general. So we haven't had to deal with this a whole lot up to this point. But I will say with my older boys, my singleton boys, this has come up, and I'm trying to educate them a little bit about what it means to be a twin and perhaps even point out other twins out there, because I'm still trying to, teach them that, hey, not everybody has, someone that looks a lot like them and was born on the same day. So I'm starting to experience this a little bit, but not with my twins, actually with my older singletons.
Well, thank you, Sunny. And for myself, my twin girls are 6 years old, and then I also have a singleton who's 3. And I really can say that they're becoming a lot more aware of their situation right now. So I found this topic is very relevant to us right now.
All right, so before we kick off our episode today, I found a headline, and you may have seen this all around the internet, perhaps on Facebook. Quite frankly, I thought the photo was hysterical, these beautiful little twin girls. But what has happened is a mom became very popular after she posted this staged photo of her twins, and basically her twins are in this stroller, and they have this sign on them that basically answers any annoying question that people ask you about twins, right? And so they're each holding a little sign, they're smiling, they're in their stroller, it's really cute. But some of the statements are, yes, they are mine, yes, they are twins, yes, both girls, no, not identical, yes, I know they look alike, yes, I'm sure they aren't identical, conceived by effing, born via C-section. Do you have twins in your family? Great. They don't run in my family until now. Yes, my hands are full. Yes, triplets would be harder. So she's basically laid it all out there for us. And so she posted it on Facebook, and there are definitely some opinions out there. Some people, say that she's not being grateful for having twins, and the ability to be able to procreate in general, is a beautiful thing. And she's not really kind of taking the whole thing seriously. And then I think a lot of people, especially on the twin side, we just kind of get it. We're like, you might understand a little bit more if, you're constantly bombarded by these questions. So wanted to see what you ladies thought about this. And did you think it was funny? Did you think it was maybe not quite appropriate? Do you understand why people are getting upset online? So Christine, what do you think?
I have to say, this is by a twin mom for twin moms. It was never meant to be like outside in the public for the people who don't get it. So it's kind of like, it's an inside joke for all of us in the twins club. We know exactly what she's feeling. So I think that's what it is. And, there'll be the people on the outside that they'll never, ever get it. And, obviously the kids are too small. They're just signs. So she's just putting a piece of paper in front of them. So it's not like the kids are involved in it. It's a joke. So to the other people, like, get over it. That's what I would say.
All right. So let's check in with our mamas and see what you guys think. So Jamie, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I see where individuals that have singletons or that don't have kids can kind of see this as a little bit, I guess, flip. I think it's hilarious, obviously, because I'm a twin parent as well. And I get some really weird questions, especially the one that always gets me is I always get, well, how do you tell them apart? And I'm like, well, one has blonde hair and one has brunette. But the second you say, yes, they're twins, they like in people's heads, they can't see the difference anymore. I don't know what it is, but it cracks me up every time. And I have to hold myself back from laughing because they're not meaning to be so oblivious to something so obvious, but and I don't want to make them feel bad about it, but inside I'm just like, how in the world is this happening? So I can see where people can feel like, well, I've asked that question before and, I didn't mean for it to sound so, silly. But on the other side, I do think that for some reason, having twins just seems to allow this allowance of really personal questions that if you are a singleton parent, you might not experience. Like, it's just like, why is my privacy not being as valued as yours? So I don't know. I can see both ways and, so that's my take on it.
All right. And Jules, so you are a triplet mama. What do you think of this picture and how people are reacting to it?
I thought that picture was hilarious. That lady was every twin mom's hero. Having also struggled with infertility for 10 years, I get the whole we should be grateful. And we are. Just because we have more than one baby at a time, we're very grateful. That doesn't mean we're not human as well and that we don't deserve our own privacy. So the folks who got offended about it, I have a little less empathy for them. Just because you have pain and somebody else has bigger pain doesn't mean you're not allowed to vent. And people do not realize how often we get these questions and that people, because they're twins and there's some sort of magical aura to that, they don't turn their brains on and think about what they're asking us, and that some of those questions are very invasive and they don't mean them to be. And most of the people that we have interacted with are genuinely curious. So you sort of forgive it. But at a certain point, you're like, this is enough. I just want to get my shopping done.
Yeah, no, I agree. In fact, this article, like I said, this is kind of becoming really popular online. It says the post has been viewed more than 2 million times in 2 days. And by now, I'm sure it's a lot more than that. So I agree. There's this fascination with twins and everyone wants to ask their questions. But I think we as twin moms, we can vent too, especially for a photo that wasn't even intended for the whole public, for everyone to see, right? So cut us some slack, everybody. But we want to hear what you guys think. So we'll post this article to our Facebook page. Check it out and comment below.
Today we're here to talk about teaching your kids to respond to strangers' comments about twins. And we're joined by other twin parents who will probably have to deal with this issue at some point, either now or in the near future. Let's see. So first of all, how do you, as the parent, usually react to strangers' comments and questions? Do you respond to it? Do you just completely ignore it? Or do you make a joke out of it? Or what else? Jamie, let's start with you.
So I'll admit I'm a little bit of an attention hog. So I'm a really proud twin mom. I don't mind conversation with people and strangers asking and, coming up and being like, oh, are they twins? That really doesn't bother me. If the conversation becomes more personal, like how are they conceived or which one was born first or, something like that, that's when I start to try and veer away from the situation a little bit more. The one that I really do not like, and I make it pretty clear, is because my twins look different, usually a stranger is drawn to the look of one twin or another, and they'll make a comment about how pretty one is, and they won't say anything about the other one. And that really bothers me. So I usually, step in and say, yes, they are both beautiful or something of that nature. So I get that a lot, and that sets me off. But other than that, I don't mind it so much. And like I said, I'm starting to wonder how that comes across to my girls, that, I talk to strangers all the time, and that, I allow people to look at them. And is that really sending the right message, or do I need to kind of revise my behavior in those types of situations?
Jamie, I think that's great that as a parent, you're really thinking about the modeling and also just from a protection factor of kind of what level of access you want people to have your kids and how do they see that. So I think as parents, it's great that you're thinking ahead, because I don't think I'm usually just very reactive myself. So kudos to you. How about Jules? How about for you? What is your usual response?
It depends on, like you said, the time of day and what kind of day you're having. And for the most part, I'm pretty open about it. My mom was a nurse, and so I'll talk about pretty much anything with anybody if they want to ask me about it. When it gets really, when they start talking about infertility and such, then it gets a little iffier. And you kind of have to judge who you're talking to. If I'm in a rush and I want to get stuff done, I will just sort of nod, acknowledge them, and move on. We were at the Tillamook factory this summer, and I was approached by a total stranger. I was just enjoying the day with two of my girls, and my husband and another one had gone in for something. This total stranger who came up and he's like, are your kids, twins? And it was, yes, my identicals. I'm like, yes, they are. And he's like, well, can I take your picture? No, you can't. I'm sorry. I have no idea who you are.
Wow. Taking the picture, that's kind of crazy. Now I'm just wondering, I know sometimes in some cultures, the picture thing, I know my girls have been really popular with some Japanese tourists. So I don't know if they were Japanese tourists, but
he was Indian, so I don't know if he was American or not, but
It's funny. We had that happen too, but it wasn't with our twins. We had that happen. I remember these tourists, we were down in San Diego, and these tourists were absolutely obsessed with my middle child who has this bright blonde hair, and they're just not used to seeing that kind of stuff. So I guess it doesn't necessarily have to just be twins, but especially in cultures where you're only allowed to have one child or whatever, the whole idea of having two is different for them. And so I think it provokes these kinds of questions.
It totally blindsided me. I hadn't been asked that before. By and large, most of the time we're approached, it's a very positive, genuine curiosity. We did try to take them to the fair when they were 18 months old, and we were just minding our own business, walking into the fair, and this lady just comes out of nowhere and she's like, are those twins? Let me tell you what I think about IVF.
Oh
I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, she went off on us, and we just walked away.
I had that actually happen to me just the other day. I had the girls in the BJ's, which is like a Costco. I don't know if they're everywhere or not, but this guy, was like, "Oh, you have twins. How amazing, blah, blah, blah." And then he just kind of stopped and stared, and the conversation just died. And then he was crossing aisles with me the rest of the time. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just so awkward and annoying. Like, just go away. Usually it's just like a quick, like, "Oh, you have twins. Oh, how do you tell them apart?" And we're like, okay. But this guy just kind of kept on staring, and that was a little awkward.
So do you find that as your kids have gotten older, do you think that the amount of questions or comments has changed over time since your kids they're no longer babies?
It's lessened somewhat, but not a lot, because usually when I'm out and about with them, I have all of them with me. So it's kind of obvious. And they all look the same age. I mean, we have one girl who's blondish, and the other two are very brunette, and they have longer hair. So you can tell them apart, but it's very clear that they're related and that they're all with me.
Well, I think with triplets, regardless of age, I mean, they're superstars. So there's always going to be this immense curiosity. I'm like, whoa, 3, the 3 Musketeers. I don't know. I have to say for my family, my girls, now that they're 6, I still kind of dress them identically, or I should say I get them clothes and then they pick out the clothes that they want to wear. And usually it's the same outfit. So it's really clear that they're identical twins and people notice them right away. I mean, I will say, like when we go to Costco, I used to have them sitting up in the cart together, and that was like everyone would just zero in and like, oh yeah, twins, and the questions ensue. And so now my girls are usually just like wandering around and I'm yelling at them. And so they're not actually in the same place. So there's still curiosity, but it takes people a lot longer because they'll see one playing around and they'll be, turn around, and then they'll see the other one. And then you could kind of see it's like, wait, is that the same one or is that 2? And then the questions come like, wait, oh, they're together. They're twins. Oh, so I guess it's more of a delayed reaction now. But, I was just thinking, now, my girls, they are a lot more responsive and a lot more interactive. Now, how about for your kids? Now that they're older, do you find that they notice or react to hearing strangers' comments, like when you're in public? I mean, are they listening? Are they talking about it?
Well, mine now will just flat out tell people. Like, I've noticed Sarah's walking around just going, we're triplets. We're triplets. That's funny. She's like very proud of it. We're triplets.
They know that 3 is the magic number. So how about for you, Jamie? How does it work for your family?
I don't think they know that they're twins. They're just realizing that they're sisters. So we don't really have that problem.
So depending on your kids' ages, do you find that strangers are addressing them directly? I mean, how do you feel about that? Do you want your kids to respond to strangers at this age? So how about Jules? Let's start with you.
Actually, they don't. They all still talk to me. And so they'll ask me questions about the girls, or they'll ask me what they like or this or that. And I try to direct them, if they're appropriate questions, to the child themselves, because I'm like, well, you can ask them who they are. Like a lot of our neighbors still have trouble between Sarah and Ashley. And they'll ask me, well, which one is Sarah and Ashley? And I'll say, well, go talk to them. Say that they will tell you who they are if you ask them. Engage with them. It's okay. But yeah, for the more complicated questions, I'm still figuring that one out.
I hear you. So it sounds like you're trying to give your twins an opportunity for kind of social interaction and introducing them to what it means to have conversations. But it would be interesting if the strangers ask questions like, oh, and how were they conceived? And did you use IVF? And it's like, wait a minute.
I will say I have not had personal experience with this, right? Because with 2.5-year-olds, you're probably not going to ask. I mean, the most that anyone's asked my twins at this point is, how old are you? And they still can't answer that. So like nobody's really probing them for twin questions. But I will say I've talked to enough experts to know that if we were to ask an expert this question, they would probably tell us, not that we have to take their advice, but they would probably say to be as honest as possible. And I think for me, I probably would go down the route with my girls to inform them whatever is appropriate at that age, whatever they need to know at that age, and let them, kind of give the information themselves. Because honestly, this is something that they're going to have to grow up with. Like, I don't really want to shelter them to just have to teach it to them later. I would rather just kind of be on. I mean, they don't need to know, about IVF and all that kind of stuff. And if someone asks them about that, they're probably just going to say, I don't know what IVF is. You know what I mean? And that's fine. But I think the way I plan to approach it is to obviously be age specific. There's some stuff that I just can't, they're not going to understand, but tell them, and then they're going to have to face this sooner or later. So why not do it now?
Yep, I hear you. Well, when we come back, we're going to discuss what it's like to bring up difficult topics with your kids. Well, welcome back. Today we're talking with our parents about how to help kids deal with the constant stream of questions and comments about being a twin. So to our parents, are there any particular questions or comments that strike a nerve with you? Like, for example, are they natural? Did you use IVF? Or even, hey, are you done having kids?
I will be honest, it does bother me when people ask if they're natural. I don't mind the questions about IVF, but I do dislike the insinuation that they're not just as normal as any other child. I mean, we have pictures in their baby books of the cells when they split. It was really cool. They gave us this picture of 2 eggs that, are still forming, and we're like, well, one of those is you two, and one of those is Emma. And so eventually, as they get older and they can understand those concepts, we will be talking about that because we've been open about it with everybody else. I don't see any reason to conceal that from them, but it depends on the context of the people who are talking about it and whether or not they're insinuating that there's something less than involved with having had to have help to have them. And as far as birth order, we get asked that by the kids in the neighborhood all the time. Well, who was born first? And I tell them it was the same time, because it really doesn't make any difference. Oh my gosh.
I have the same thing with my family. I mean, the strangers, they ask, they say, oh, well, who was born first? And usually it's my girls that they bounce back and they go, well, we're twins. We're born at the same time. It's like, duh, don't you know? So yeah, we haven't really addressed the birth order topic either. It does kind of make me cringe because we don't need that extra competition. So I totally hear you on that one. So now what about the question when you get asked, are you done having kids? Especially for you, Jules, with 3 in tow.
Oh, for us, it's a non-issue. I don't love that question, but it's easy because we're done. We're so excited to have what we have. We never thought we would. So we're just in heaven having all these 3 girls. It's been extremely challenging, but we love it. But then also, as a result of having 3 at once, I no longer have the ability, and I'm fine with that. I'm so happy not to have to deal with any of that stuff ever again.
How about Jamie? How about for you? Do people ask you if you're done having kids?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. And I've answered one way, and then I've answered another, and then I've answered the first way again. It really depends on the day and how much the toddlers are driving me nuts. But I do feel like I get judged more on my answer than maybe a singleton parent does. I don't know. Because one of my reasons is that because my girls were naturally conceived and were 2 eggs, which means I'm dropping more than 1, and now I'm over 35. And so the chance that we could end up having a second set is actually higher. And so that was one of my reasons that I was like, no, I think we're done. I just don't want to take the chance of having another set because one time was enough. But a lot of judgment came with that. Like, oh, you shouldn't not have kids because, you shouldn't try because of that. And you shouldn't do that out of fear. And I just feel like it's not anybody's business. Like there's a lot of reasons that you choose not to have kids, but I don't know. I've been judged for that reason in the past before. So now I just kind of say, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know.
So have you had any conversations with your kids about what to say when they're approached by strangers asking twin questions?
I will. I definitely will. I think now I'm just more focused on how my boys respond to the questions because usually they're all kind of 4 together. And so if anyone's going to address the group, it's probably going to be my older boys that answer because they know how to answer a little bit. And so I think it's more really about educating their siblings right now than the girls. But when the girls are, a little bit older, for sure. Like I said before, I think I'm just going to kind of go the honest route, and I think they're going to have to deal with it someday. So honestly, it's not really something that I'm really all that concerned about just because, again, they're going to have to deal with it. So I don't really have a mama bear reaction to this too much. I guess because all the questions, we don't have like anything that really upsets me, when people ask me. So I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. That I don't feel like I don't have any push button, like anything that really stands out.
It's really interesting. One of my girls is pretty shy. And so even with family members that she doesn't get to see all the time, it takes her some time to warm up. And we have been we've really tried to make sure that she has her space to warm up and not try and push her into situations with people she doesn't feel comfortable around, because I feel like that's what's going to set her up for allowing herself to trust her gut when she's approached or around other people later in life that she just doesn't feel comfortable around. Now, of course, we try and, explain like, this is your uncle, he's okay. But, but we do also want to respect her boundaries and respect the fact that she's not feeling comfortable yet and let her know that that's okay. So that's pretty much the length of our conversations or behavior around this type of situation.
Oh, that's great, Jamie, that you're helping your kids learn how to set boundaries and learn who is appropriate to talk to and who isn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, as self-determination is so incredibly important, and kids need to feel that they have, one, control over their body, and two, control over the amount of information that they share with people. And I think that we as a society tend to encourage or over please people and over polite people. And I think that leads to some really dangerous situations. And so we've just, encouraged our girls to say, I don't feel like it. No, thank you. I don't feel like hugging right now. And so sometimes they get the communication and sometimes they don't. But I think it's just incredibly important for them to feel, no, I have control over my body. I can decide when and how I show affection towards people. And it's okay if I offend somebody that I don't feel comfortable with, or I don't feel comfortable in the situation. And so, from a social work background and a crisis intervention background, that's what I would say has made me feel most comfortable with my girls.
Well, thanks so much to our parents for joining us today. Be sure to visit our episode page on our website for more information about handling stranger comments, as well as links to additional resources. And this conversation continues from members of our Twin Talks Club. And after the show, we'll talk about awkward moments we've encountered with strangers. For more information about the Twin Talks Club, visit our website, newmommymedia.com.
All right, so a listener submitted a comment for our Twin Oops segment, which I was telling you guys about at the beginning of the episode. It's one of my favorite segments that we do. It's where you guys share your funny twin situations, stories that have happened where you're like, oops, that was kind of an oops situation. This one comes from Kathleen Goggin, and she wrote this. Actually, I posted something on the Multiples of America Facebook page, and Kathleen responded with her funny story. And I think we can all kind of relate to this if you've ever been taking your twins to a mall type situation where there's a lot of people and twins can easily kind of get lost in the shuffle. This is Kathleen's situation. So she writes, my twin boys were about 18 months of age. I took them to our mall for a mama and babies outing. They loved water, so as usual, we stopped at the beautiful fountains to throw in pennies. Being a young and naive new mom, I thought how wonderful to take the boys out of their stroller and let them throw in the pennies and dip their fingers in the water. Ah, the pure pleasure of watching new moms and their babies. So I took them both out of the stroller. They both proceeded to take off through the mall in opposite directions. There was one of me and two of them and a stroller. What to do? I cannot chase two kids at one time. Time to make a quick plan. I figured James would run in a straight line. I love her. I love how she plans this out in her head. I figured James would run in a straight line. Brian was more likely to ditch in a store and hide in the clothes racks. So I chased down Brian first, grabbed him up under my arm, turned around and tore through the mall in the opposite direction to search out James. As I finally saw him, he was standing alone, looking around for me or deciding which way to run. I noticed all kinds of adults stopping and standing, looking around confused and questioning, where is this baby's mom? And then they saw me frantically run up to him and grab him with another his size dangling under my other arm. Their all looks of understanding and amusement were quite comical. Thank goodness when I got back to the fountain and stroller and all the baby stuff and my purse were still intact. Phew, that's what she says. So, oh my gosh, right? Because you have that panic attack of babies running in opposite directions. There's only one of you. You have your purse and your belongings that you can't take with you, right? And you're almost forced to choose. But I love the fact that she made that split-second decision. Okay, who's more likely to go hide in a store? That's who I'm going after first. I bet if you guys thought in your head of like, if you put yourself in this situation, you would know which kid you would go after first for that very reason.
I've been in this situation before,
no.
So I run after the one that I know runs faster. But I will say that this brings up a really interesting point about strangers, is that I had never realized how much I was going to need to rely on the kindness of strangers. Mm-hmm. And in these moments of people seeing what's going on with this poor twin mom, and it has revived my faith in humanity. How many times I've had strangers help me because they see me alone with twins, 2-year-olds, and feel my pain in moments like this. So strangers aren't all bad. It's just,
yes.
It's hard to tell which ones are and which ones aren't.
Absolutely. We all have to rely on strangers at times. I've done that myself. So absolutely. Well, Kathleen, thanks so much for sending this in. We really appreciate you commenting on Facebook about this so we could share this with our listeners. If you guys are listening, you're like, I have a really funny twin oops story that would be really funny to share on the show. We would love to hear it. So you can go to our website at newmommymedia.com and click on the contact link there at the bottom. So you can submit it that way. Another great way, better way, I personally think, is if you, again, go to our website and there's a great little tab on the side of all of the pages that says send voicemail. And this is a fairly new system that we've been testing and using. It's worked out pretty well, where you can actually send a voicemail straight through our website. So you don't actually have to call a number, but you can use your own voice and tell your story that way, and then we'll play it on the show. So again, thanks so much, Kathleen, and we hope to get more of these stories soon.
Well, that wraps up our show for today. We appreciate you listening to Twin Talks. Don't forget to check out our sister show, Preggy Pals for expecting parents, the Boob Group for moms who give their breast milk to their babies, Parent Savers for moms and dads with toddlers, and our newest Newbies for newly postpartum moms. This is Twin Talks, Parenting Times 2.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
How would you like to have your own show on the New Mommy Media Network? We're expanding our lineup and looking for great content. If you're a business or organization interested in learning more about our co-branded podcasts, visit our website at newmommymedia.com. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.